Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Oregon Employment Department for today's media briefing. We're going to wait just another couple minutes to give everyone time to join before getting started. Okay, it looks like everybody's joined us who's joining us today. So my name is Rebecca Gibson King. I am the Communications Director for the Oregon Employment Department. Today's speakers are State Employment Economist Gail Krummenauer and Oregon Employment Department Director Andrew Stolfe. Our new Deputy Director and former Paid Leave Oregon Director, Karen Madden-Hummelbaugh, and Unemployment Insurance Deputy Director, Sarah Cromwell, are also going to be on hand after the remarks to answer questions. A couple of quick notes. We are recording this briefing and we will post the recording online and send out the link after the briefing. We will take questions after the opening remarks. And if you have any technical difficulties or other questions that you don't get answered today, you can always email us at communications@employ.oregon.gov, and we'll be happy to help you out. So I will now turn it over to our new director, Andrew Stolfe, to introduce himself. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew Stolfe, the new director for the Employment Department. Really glad to join you today at my first media briefing. Gail really is the star of these shows, so I'm going to quickly turn it over to her, but wanted to take a moment to introduce myself and our new executive management team and share some expectations the governor has set for me for my first 150 days. First, as for me, I started on June 23rd, so I'm only a few weeks into my tenure here. For the past 5+ years, I had the privilege of serving as the director of the state's Department of Consumer and Business Services, and for the past 7+ years, also as the state's insurance commissioner. Prior to joining DCBS, I held a series of roles with increasing responsibility and oversight at city, state, and international levels. I prosecuted building code violations. I clerked for a state appellate court judge, advised governors, began my regulatory career with the State Department of Insurance, and spent several years at an international insurance setting organization before moving to Oregon in 2018. I was very excited to join the talented team at the Employment Department. And over the last few weeks, as I've been getting to know our people and programs, have been so very impressed by the team's strong commitment to public service. As for our executive team, I've made the only 2 changes I'm anticipating. The first was to promote someone you all know, Paid Leave Director Karen Madden-Hummelbaugh. She's now the agency's Deputy Director, and that's a position that was vacant as the prior Deputy Director left a few months ago to join another state agency. I've also added a new position of Agency Chief of Staff and appointed Sarah Foster to the role. Sarah comes to OED from the governor's office, where she served as the Workforce, Labor, and Higher Education Advisor to Governor Tina Kotek. Her prior experience includes time at HEC and the Oregon Business Council. Both Karen and Sarah have years of demonstrated leadership experience and dedication to public service, and will be a key part of our continuous improvement. The last thing I wanted to share today is around the expectations that the governor laid out for me on my first day. So in addition to meeting the agency expectations she set out for every agency at the beginning of her term, the governor has given me 150 days to accomplish 2 big tasks. So in the first 90 days, I need to complete a comprehensive organizational review where we're going to ask customers, staff, partners, and interested parties for feedback on what we do well and what we can do better. So after we get that feedback, I then have 60 days to develop a series of recommendations and action plans across a few key areas. First, the governor asked for a plan for supporting our tax and benefits system, it's Francis Online, to make sure it will serve our customers well for years to come. She also asked for a plan to improve customer service for Paid Leave Oregon and unemployment insurance, including an assessment of current goals for call wait times, payment timelines, and claims processes, and specifically including recommendations on how we can incorporate AI and other innovative approaches to move the needle. And finally, she asked for a plan to improve the state's workforce development programs and services. It's very important that the recommendations I deliver to the governor reflect the wishes of those we are here to serve. So The first phase of this work in gathering information from customers, partners, and interested parties is going to be key to our success. We've got a lot of work ahead in a short amount of time, and we're very eager to accomplish it. And I'll gladly share more with you as things progress. Excuse me. One other thing I did want to mention before closing as well, we are also very aware of other challenges that Oregon is facing right now, such as the recent layoffs at ODOT and Intel. We know how terribly impactful it is to lose a job and take our role in providing financial and job assistance very seriously and are doing everything we can to prepare and respond. I'll come back to that in a moment, but first did want to give just a little bit of context. That's that not every job loss leads to a claim or results in an immediate surge in claims, as we have seen many factors that can influence if and when a worker files a claim, including whether they receive a severance package. We also currently process almost 4,000 initial job loss claims a week and more than 42,000 overall claims a week. We have already been preparing for the regular influx of claims that happens this time of year due to fiscal year layoffs and summer school employee claims. And we're also freeing up other resources so we can be more flexible in how we're responding. For example, we've already authorized overtime. We're also shifting more staff to a live chat feature so that customers have multiple options to reach someone to help get their questions answered. Finally, I just want to stress how important transparency and accountability are to me, and to thank you for your interest in our agency and the important work that we do. You play an essential role in helping us get information out to Oregonians who need access to our services, and I really look forward to working with you. So now I'm going to turn it over to the one I'm sure you've been waiting for, and that's State Economist Gail Krumenauer. Gail, go ahead, please take it away.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for the kind words. And thanks again to everyone for being here today. This morning, the Employment Department released the jobs numbers and unemployment rate for Oregon in June. Oregon employers dropped 4,300 jobs from non-farm payrolls. Several sectors had notable changes over the month. We saw a decline of 1,400 jobs in other services. That includes auto repair shops, hair salons, a broad array of companies in that industry. We also saw a loss of 1,200 jobs in manufacturing. Oregon's leisure and hospitality sector, Oregon's hotels, restaurants, bars, and entertainment places lost 1,000 jobs last month. We did see a gain. Private healthcare and social assistance added 900 jobs in June. Looking over the past year, Oregon employers added 8,700 jobs. That's a growth rate of 0.4%. That's really slow by historical standards. We're also seeing that job growth remains highly concentrated and not broad-based across Oregon's economy. Private healthcare and social assistance added 15,800 jobs over the past year. It's a gain of more than 5%, and that's really where the bulk of job growth has been occurring in Oregon. It's also worth noting that private healthcare and social assistance has been leading job growth nationally over much of the past year as well. Looking back at Oregon over the past year, we've seen some sectors with noticeable declines. Manufacturing lost 7,700 jobs over the year. That's a decline of 4.1%. Construction is down by 5,200 jobs over the past year, which is a loss of 4.5%. Financial activities is down by 2,900 jobs, which is a loss of nearly 3%. Oregon's unemployment rate was 4.9% in June. That was higher than the US rate of 4.1%. Oregon's unemployment rate has ticked up by just 1/10 of a percentage point, but it's done so every month so far in 2025. So while that's little change from month to month, the broader effect is that we've seen Oregon's unemployment rate rise from 4.3% at the end of last year to 4.9% as of June. Now, comparing to pre-pandemic times, the last time our unemployment rate was this high was in the summer of 2016. Just to recap, we are still seeing job growth in Oregon, although it's quite slow and concentrated over the past year. The size of Oregon's labor force has been growing slightly, but at the same time, so is our unemployment rate. And with that, I am going to hand it back over to Rebecca for any questions and answers folks might have. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. So this is the time where we're going to open it up for questions. Please raise your hand if you'd like to ask one of the panelists a question. And if you're joining us by phone, please make sure to hit *6 to unmute yourself. As a courtesy, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up question. And as always, if you have more questions after today, you can email us at communications@employ.oregon.gov. So anybody have a question? I see we've got one from Dick Hughes. So go ahead, Dick. I just allowed you to speak.
Thank you very much. I have a question first for Gail and one for Director Stolfi, and I'll say what they both are, and maybe they both want to answer. And the first is, do you have any idea what the layoffs not only at ODOT but at Intel and other places recently might do for the unemployment rate? The related question is, what can the legislature do to affect the economy of employment, or what can the state do?
Thanks for the question, Dick. In terms of what it means for the unemployment rate, it's hard to say directly. When we're seeing losses in some sectors of the economy, what happens in terms of unemployment has to do with whether or not there's another sector of the economy where you can find that next opportunity easily, whether or not there's growth happening in the area or in other sectors of the economy to offset for it. So that's one thing that can affect whether or not we see unemployment rise. Another thing that could happen, and this has actually happened nationally in the last couple of months, is that it depends on what people decide to do after that. So if someone loses their job and then ultimately decides that they are going to maybe retire or no longer be in the workforce, then they're not going to count as unemployed. They're going to not be in the labor force anymore. If they're, let's say they've already worked for 40 years and they said, okay, this is it for me. So it's hard to say exactly what happens with the unemployment rate related to specific layoffs. One other thing, and Director Stolfi mentioned this at the top, is that, and this is something that we're actually seeing with some federal government jobs as well, is that there are folks who may lose their jobs or be otherwise leaving their jobs in some sort of arrangement, but be continuing to be paid by some severance package or something else. And in those cases, folks are still counted on the payroll until that period of being paid ends.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Dick, as for your second question about what the legislature could do to affect the broader economy, I think that's a bit of a broader question than just what affects OED and kind of our role in the workforce throughout our economy. But if I could say specific to our agency, we're really grateful for the support that we got at the legislature for our budget, and specifically for a policy bill that provided a little more funding to make up for a loss of some federal funds that we've been seeing over the years. So that's something we're very grateful that the legislature did for us this past session.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dick. So next we have Ashley Koch with KGW. I'm going to allow you to talk, Ashley. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks. I am sorry if this was already mentioned at the top. I jumped on late, but kind of along those same lines, with the delays in the unemployment department that we've seen over the past year and troubles, taking phone calls, having to shut down phone calls for a time, and staffing issues, is the unemployment department prepared to handle this influx of layoffs that we're seeing from Intel, from ODOT, from other places?
Ashley got to start with that. Yeah, I did talk about that a little bit ago. Glad to recap it for you. Absolutely. First, absolutely aware of the terrible impact that any layoff is on that worker, and our responsibility to respond to that, to provide financial and job assistance as quickly and fully as we can. A little bit of context I provided earlier as well. We see about 4,000 initial job loss claims a week and about 42,000 overall a week. We've already also been preparing for the normal influx of claims that we get, kind of a seasonal fluctuations that happen. And we're also taking some other actions right now to help enable us to be flexible and to free up some resources. Two specifically, I mentioned are authorizing overtime and also putting more resources on the live chat function that we have in order to allow workers and claimants to utilize different resources to access our services and our support. And then more broadly speaking, on the customer service challenges that which we've absolutely embraced and need to get past. The governor did give me a set of expectations on my first day about addressing those. We've got a 90-day plan and a 60-day plan in order to first gather information from all those that we serve, and then deliver very specific action plans and recommendations to the governor on how we're going to address customer service across the agency.
Any follow-up question,
I
Ashley?
appreciate you. No, I just want to say I appreciate you reiterating that.
Awesome, thank you. Next up is Kyra Buckley with OPB. Go ahead, Kyra.
All right. Hi. I actually have a similar question. I just wanted to say, welcome, Andrew. Thank you so much for taking our questions. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the customer service aspect for unemployment insurance. Something Director Gerstenfeld mentioned was one of the challenges was shrinking federal funding. You mentioned this as well. We are only getting signals that that funding is going to continue to be uncertain and may get smaller. I'm wondering how you're thinking about as we move forward, how you're going to strategize and make sure that we don't see those, long wait times and those issues that people were really having a challenging time with.
Thanks, Sarah. First, as to federal funding, I mentioned how grateful we were to a policy bill that the legislature passed that will help us in addressing some federal funding shortfalls we've seen and potentially some we could expect in the future. Our funding levels are obviously very important. And then really as to customer service overall, what you're going to see from us is a really thorough, comprehensive look at all of the things that could be done. And I'll say, Director Gerstenfeld, I know has talked about this a lot. The agency has owned the challenges that we've experienced. And I can assure you, and I showed up 3 weeks ago, there've been lots of thinking about this and a lot of planning. What I'm doing is digging into that to see what's done and maybe what hasn't been done and what barriers existed to accomplishing that, whether they're people barriers, resources, et cetera. And then being creative and looking elsewhere. For one example, I've already had a call with another state, New Jersey, who's been really successful at leveraging AI and some other similar tools into their systems that's cut down their call wait times. And importantly, also provided a lot more self-help resources to claimants and others so that they can provide answers to some common questions and problems that they're encountering. So what you can expect to see from us is a really thorough, comprehensive look at everything that can be done and a very detailed plan on how we're going to accomplish those things in order to address the customer service challenges that we have.
Thanks for taking my questions and look forward to working with you and continue working with all of you in the future.
Thanks, Karen.
Awesome, thanks, Kyra. I don't see any other hands raised, but I'm going to wait a beat before bringing us to a close. Oh, we have another question from Dick. Go ahead, Dick.
It's not a question, a comment. I just want to thank you for doing these regularly. We really appreciate it, whether we have a lot of questions or not. And, the press releases you send out each month or more often are just incredibly helpful. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Dick. We appreciate when you come too. We love hearing from all of you, and we appreciate all that you do to help us get the word out to Oregonians about the work that we do. So with that, not seeing any other hands raised, I'm going to call this media briefing closed. As a reminder, we record these briefings, and we will send out the link to everybody who RSVP'd later this afternoon. You can also find the link on our media page at employ.oregon.gov under News and Agency Info. Thank you all for participating today, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.